In conversation with Doralyn Moore. Doralyn Moore has a Master of Education degree from the University of Toronto and over 30 years experience in social services working with diverse populations. His familiarity with people from various walks of life inform the storylines of our books. Doralyn's prayer is that our books will point readers to the abundant life available through Jesus Christ. Doralyn lives in a small community east of Toronto. Her husband, Carey, passed away in September of 2022. Her two sons are married, and she has six beautiful grandchildren. And in today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure, joy, and excitement to have on the show today, Doralyn Moore. How are you doing today, Doralyn? Thanks for coming on.
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very fine as well. It's quite sunny today, quite beautiful weather it is, and it's amazing we are here to sit down and have a conversation around the beautiful titles. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, Doralyn, I would like us to start today's interview by talking about your book, the one titled 70 times 7, which I found the description page of it on Amazon to be quite amazing and quite beautiful. I wanted to ask you, what led you to start this book? What inspired the making of it?
What inspired the making of the book is that I had difficulty forgiving my father.
Oh,
My father was a bright man, but he had severe dyslexia, and it caused him frustration. And that would result in him having bursts of anger. And those bursts of anger scared me. And consequently, we didn't have a good relationship. And it took me, sadly, until after he died, where I came to the place where I was able to forgive him. God gave me the strength to forgive him. And that's why I wanted to explore the whole idea of forgiveness.
hmm. That sounds like an amazing start to becoming an author. I mean, that sounds like a lovely story you've got in there. It was what brought out the making of the book. And now, Hope Doesn't Disappoint, An Abundance of Grace, which is the first two book in the Victory series, both tackle deeply personal and emotional journey containing addiction, adoption, identity, and healing. I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to launch a series around these themes? And now that the stories for these first two books take shape.
In Hope Doesn't Disappoint, it's about a woman who suffers from a gambling addiction.
Oh,
And I knew someone personally who got involved with the gambling addiction, and it was
wow.
a very difficult. This woman in the story, she loses everything. Initially, she has a lovely home, a husband,
Mm,
two lovely daughters, and a
wow.
good job. And because of her gambling, she loses everything.
Wow.
And it's the story of how she uh, comes to know, have a relationship with Jesus and to uh, climb out of the addiction.
Oh, wow. That's such an amazing
And then
story.
Abundance of Grace is the next book. It follows her daughter, her oldest daughter, who's much older in the second book. And her daughter has had an abortion uh, while she was away at university.
Wow.
And the protagonist's name is Cassie, and it brings back to Cassie the idea that the remembrance that she had a child at 16 when she was unmarried, and she gave that child she placed the child for adoption.
Mm,
And book, she feels led by the Lord to go and look for that child. And
wow.
it's the story of their reconnection.
Wow. Wow. That's such an amazing one, really. I love the themes that your book expand on, because I think it's something that people actually deal with. If you can find like a community-wise, a social vices, a thing in the society personally that people deals with, you're able to communicate that through literature. I think it's a lovely one, really. Thank you for sharing. Could you also please tell us about the making of the third book in the Victory series, the one titled Cause to Triumph? What do you hope readers take away from that as well?
That story is the last, as you said, in the Victory series. It's a trilogy,
Yeah.
and it's about Cassie's oldest daughter again, who gets married on a whim on a trip to Las Vegas,
Oh.
and she she marries an accountant who unfortunately has a very corrupt client,
Mm.
and through the client is connected to the mob, and they end
Wow.
up having to run for their lives because her husband is subpoenaed to testify. The client's arrested for money laundering. I wrote this book. It's sort of different from the other two, and it was interesting to explore about being in a witness protection program and running for your life. And I just wanted my readers to see that no matter what's happening in our lives,
Yeah.
God loves us and He cares about it.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. I love your take on that. That's something quite beautiful that it would be nice for readers to take away from it. Thank you for sharing. And could you raise a copy of this book to the camera from starting from Cost to Triumph and the other one we've talked about so far? Just so we see what it
Okay,
looks like. Oh,
this
look at
is my
that. Beautiful
most.
cover.
Yes, it came out in December 2024.
Mm.
And then the second book in this series is Abundance of Grace.
Mm.
And
Could
this
you
is
lift
the
it up
one
a
about,
little bit higher?
can
Absolutely. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, beautiful cover you've got in there.
yeah, I like the cover. I really had a good cover designer. And this
Oh,
one
look
is
at
the third.
that. Oh, wow. I love the fact that
Yeah,
you have some people playing on our head as an imagination,
yeah, that's right. And
right?
then this is the first book I wrote, which is the 70 times 7, the one about forgiveness. And this in
Wow.
the background is, if anybody knows the city of Toronto, this
Mm.
is the CN Tower, which is an iconic spot in Toronto
Wow.
on the water.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And Doralyn, your novels deals heavily with themes of faith and healing. How does a personal journey influence the characters you write about, if in any way?
Oh, definitely. I came to know Jesus. And I believe that he died and rose again so
Mm.
that we can have forgiveness for sin.
Yeah, yeah.
And I invited him into my life. I gave my life to serve Jesus,
Mm,
and I've served him throughout my life. And it's my goal that my books reveal to my readers how much
mm,
Jesus loves them
mm.
and wants to have a relationship with them.
I
And I
love
would say
that.
that's the purpose of writing my books.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful one. Thank you so much for sharing. That was amazing. I'd also like to ask you, how did your background in education and social services shape your storytelling approach, even anyway?
For sure. I've worked with visually impaired clients.
Mm.
I've worked with low income moms.
Oh,
Worked with people who are unemployed. I've worked with people on social welfare. I've worked with many different clients. And so it's
wow.
given me lots of fuel for the to write about, given me lots of different knowledge of people from different walks of life.
Mm. That's an amazing one as well. It's amazing to know you've worked with these different areas of people. That must have been quite an experience.
Yes, I really and like it. You, as you mentioned in the bio, I've had lots of years of experience, And I've really enjoyed those years.
That's a trunk load, even. I think that's amazing. 30 years experience in social services. That's a lot, really.
It is.
Quite commendable. Now, I wanted to ask you, as a writer, how do you undo criticism as a writer? I would love your take on that, especially the negative ones.
I haven't really had any
Criticism.
negative reviews,
Yeah.
which I'm very thankful for. But naturally, as you know, you're a writer. When you get a negative review, when someone doesn't like it, it's very disheartening.
Yeah, it is.
But you have to keep going.
Yeah.
Just because someone doesn't like it, it doesn't mean that everybody won't like it.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that. That's quite beautiful. Thank you. And I'm just curious, aside from the books you've mentioned so far, do you have any other works you're currently working on?
Oh, I am. As you said again in my bio, I became a widow of after being married for 51 years in 2022. So the current book that I'm working on, I'm going over the third draft, and it's about a widow,
Oh,
and she gets scammed uh, in a romance scam
oh,
on the internet. You know how these scammers who pretend that there's somebody else and they target lonely people
hmm,
and they eventually end up asking for money. And because the people are emotionally invested, they often send the money. And
hmm,
so it's about that and what happens to her.
hmm. Oh, wow. I love your take on that. Thank you for sharing. That sounds like an amazing story, and it's quite popular even on the internet space.
It is. It
Yeah.
takes, I was amazed with my research. It's in the billions of dollars that are lost through these scams.
Yeah. Love scams.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's a lot, really. It's a lot. Thank you for sharing. That sounds like an amazing one. Look forward to that.
I do too. I can't wait till it comes out.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Sounds like an amazing read already. I would love to. Now, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your books and writing that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
For anybody who is wanting to write, I encourage them to write every day.
Mm,
Um, you get better with practice. I
absolutely.
encourage not to give up.
Mm,
Sometimes it gets discouraging. And I would say that the most challenging thing is for me is marketing my books.
mm,
The marketing is very challenging
yeah,
because I think, isn't it 2,000 books a week or something are published? And so your competition is really astronomical.
yeah.
So give up and keep plugging away.
Mm, that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for your lovely advice and even mentioning that. I think it's a global and something that's quite predominant, especially in the self-publishing route. The marketing, getting your works out there, the avenues for promotions, etc. Thank you for sharing. Now, I wanted to ask you, what is your writing process like? Are you like a planner or a plotter? How do you write your book and where exactly do you get your inspiration? I know we've talked a bit about how you get inspiration for like one or two, but for generally, how does inspiration comes to you? What's your writing process like?
The writing process is, yeah, and I often it's very interesting. Often when I'm in the shower, ideas
Oh,
will come to me. And I've
interesting.
read actually that there's scientific backup for that because maybe the hot water relaxes us and our minds, it frees our
Yeah.
to think more clearly.
Mm,
And often it'll be something that I've dealt with in the past in my work or personally in my life, like the first book with the situation with my dad. And
Mm,
actually, too, I've also used artificial intelligence
right.
to generate some ideas for books.
Let's see.
That has its pluses and minuses.
Mm.
And I'll just start getting ideas. I'm more of a pantster, like
Oh,
by the seat of my pants, rather than someone who does a lot of plotting. I do know where I want my books to go, but I don't sit down and write every scene out like some authors do.
mm.
And so I'll start writing, and sometimes the stories, the characters take on a life of their own
Oh,
and they
wow.
take me in directions that I follow my characters where they go, and it's kind of
Mm.
fun to see where
Oh,
they're going to end.
wow. I love the sound of that. Sounds to me to be quite amazing and quite fun.
It does make it fun. Um, uh, there's pluses and minuses of, plotting out and outlining your
Yeah,
books rather than being more freewheeling in how your books go.
yeah.
And it's just, I think, the way your mind works.
Mm. That's true. I love your take, and that's quite relatable, even. Thank you. Thank you. And just in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of any of your books. On what platform are they available on for purchase?
They can purchase my books on Amazon and on Kindle. All my books are available on Amazon and Kindle under my author title, Doralyn Moore.
Oh, interesting. And I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Doralyn Moore's books directly on Amazon, on our website, and also on other platform. I also left a link to our social media pages for possible followings. So thank you so much, Doralyn, for accepting the invitation to come up and we having a chat around your amazing, lovely titles. Thank you so much for coming on. This was quite exciting.
You're very welcome. I appreciate the time today that you've given to me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure as well.